Yong's hands were locked tightly to the operating table with cold metal shackles. The harsh smell of rust mixed with the pungent smell of disinfectant penetrated his nose, making his stomach churn. The overhead fluorescent lights buzzed, emitting a pale light, reflecting the surrounding men wearing gas masks. Their eyes flashed with cold excitement behind the masks, like hungry wolves staring at their prey. "Let me go. You crazy people." Yong's voice was hoarse, and his throat was as dry as if he had swallowed sand. He was just taking a shortcut through this alley in an abandoned factory area on his way home from get-off work, but unexpectedly he felt a pain in the back of his head and was dragged into this hellish place. His heartbeat was like a drum, pounding against his chest, and every breath was trembling with fear. A tall and thin man stepped forward, wearing strange goggles on his face, with a sarcastic smile on his lips. He called himself Sakai, and his voice was as low as a whisper, "Boy, congratulations on winning the prize. This is a superpower awakening ceremony, the latest product on the black market. Only an ordinary person like you can be a perfect guinea pig." He shook the syringe in his hand, and the green liquid glowed with strange fluorescence under the light. "After injecting the plant superpower potion, you will either become a Superman or become a fertilizer." Yong's eyes widened, sweat slid down his forehead and seeped into his collar coldly. "Are you kidding me? I'm an office worker, not your toy. Let me go, or I'll call the police." A hint of impatience flashed in Sakai's eyes, and the corner of his mouth twitched, calling the police. "Boy, this is a black market for supernatural powers, and the police have to kneel when they come. Shut up, and the ceremony begins." Without hesitation, he inserted the needle into Yong's vein, and the green liquid rushed into the blood vessels like fire, instantly igniting the meridians throughout the body. Yong felt as if his blood vessels were being eaten by millions of ants. He arched his body in pain and gritted his teeth. The surrounding assistants whispered, and a short, fat man whispered, "Is this dose too strong?" The test subject last time exploded directly. Another lowered his voice. "Boss Sakai said that this kid has a special physique and can hold up." Their breathing became rapid, and the air was filled with the smell of nervous sweat. Suddenly, Yong's vision blurred, and the dead vine-potted plant in the corner of the laboratory began to squirm crazily. Green vines burst out like living snakes, and their spiked tentacles hissed directly towards the operating table. Yong's heart almost stopped. Poison ivy. They wrapped around his limbs and pierced his skin, their venom burning the muscles like acid, and each tightening brought heartbreaking pain. He struggled, his legs twitched, and he growled like a beast, "Get away, get away." Panic overwhelmed him like a tide, and an ordinary life flashed through his mind, the cubicle from 9 to 5, the boss who worked overtime until he collapsed, and the dream of promotion that was always out of reach. "It's over, I'm really going to die in the gutter this time. It's out of control. Shut down the system." Sakai shouted, his face turned pale. The assistants were in a mess, and someone knocked over the instrument, making a crisp sound of metal collision. Just when the poison ivy was about to strangle Yong's cervical vertebra, a strange warm current surged from his dantian. Yong's pupils shrank suddenly, and he felt those vines responding to him. Deep inside, a voice whispers, "Master them. Break." Yong instinctively roared, the image of the vines breaking appearing in his mind. In an instant, the poison ivy wrapped around him exploded, and green juice splashed out like blood mist. He felt a wild power rushing through his body, extending into the earth like countless root veins, integrating with the surrounding plants. Excitement replaced panic, and he laughed, with a tremor of shock in his voice. Is this a superpower?" With a brave wave of his hand, the laboratory floor cracked, and countless giant vines sprang out like a tsunami, with diameters as thick as buckets, and their tips stabbed at the assistants like spears. The short and fat man screamed and was swept up by the vines and hit the wall. He spurted blood from his mouth. "Monster. He is a monster." The other assistants fled in all directions, their faces full of horror and fear. Some people knelt down and begged for mercy. "Have mercy, sir. We were wrong. Their eyes changed from contempt to worship and fear, and their gasps and the harsh sound of vines tearing metal echoed in the air. The laboratory suddenly collapsed, and Yong jumped out, his shackles shattered when he woke up. He rushed out of the ruins, feeling the night wind blowing in his face, mixed with the fresh smell of earth and green leaves. Several guards with guns chased from behind, the muzzle flashes of their guns flashing, and bullets swishing past their ears. Want to run? Die, the leading guard roared. Yong sneered, and with a thought, the weeds and trees on the roadside grew wildly, and giant vines burst out from the ground, entangling the pursuers like giant pythons. A guard was hung in the air, his face was pale, and his legs were kicking wildly. Impossible, how does this guy control plants? His screams when he fell attracted a few passers-by on the roadside at night. They opened their eyes wide and pointed, "Oh my God, that vine is alive. Is that kid a superpower?" A young girl screamed and backed away, her eyes full of admiration. "So handsome, Green Revolution." Yong gasped and turned around to stare at Zekai who had just chased him out. Zekai took off his mask and gasped, "Boy, you hold on, you have unlimited potential. But those potions belong to the Tang Long gang, and you are now their #1 target." Yong narrowed his eyes, the aftertaste of excitement still lingering in his chest, but he became wary. "You wanted to kill me just now, and now you're trying to get close to me? Why should I trust you?" Zekai twitched the corner of his mouth and handed over a flashing data chip, "Intelligence. Tang Long's mind-reading headset is controlling politicians, and I have the key props of the Green Revolution. Cooperate? Or let me watch you being hunted to death." Yong hesitated for a moment, then took the chip, and his fingertips touched the warmth of Zekai's palm. In the night, police sirens sounded faintly in the distance. Will he embark on this crazy path of supernatural powers? Yong strode away from the abandoned factory area, the night wind blowing across his face like a blade, mixed with the sharp echo of the siren in the distance, making the hairs on the back of his neck stand up one by one. The data chip in the palm still retains Zekai's body temperature, and the cold metal edge touches the skin, like a time bomb. He glanced down, the guy's final whisper echoing in his mind, "Oasis Park, that's where the pollution crisis comes from. Go try your new toy, kid." When the sky turned white, he had already squeezed into the crowded subway, and the car was filled with the smell of sweat and greasy breakfast buns. The office workers around him lowered their heads to check their mobile phones. No one noticed the trembling of his fingertips. The potted plant by the car window swayed slightly, as if whispering welcome. Yong's heartbeat gradually stabilized, and excitement spread in his chest like wildfire. "I am now the king of plants. Are those gangsters chasing you? Come on, who is afraid of whom?" The hustle and bustle of the city came like a tide, the tall buildings were mixed with the gray and yellow color of smog, and the air was filled with a pungent chemical smell, which made him cough a few times. Zekai's chip information was correct. Oasis Park, once the green lung of the city, is now an abandoned garbage dump. Yong pushed open the rusty iron gate, and his footsteps made a crunching sound on broken glass and rotten plastic. In front of me is a picture of hell, a black pond with green bubbles, an oily film floating on the surface of the poisonous water, exuding a sour stench that penetrates the nose. The surrounding bare soil is filled with industrial waste, and several scavengers in the distance bend down to rummage, coughing intermittently, like the gasps of a dying person. He stretched out his palm and pressed it against the soil. In an instant, a low, gurgling sound came from the ground, like the groaning of the earth waking up. Countless buds burst out from the cracks, and the green leaves spread, rustling, bringing with them the scent of moist earth. Sweat broke out on Yong's forehead, and the rhythm of plant pulses came from his fingertips, synchronized with his heartbeat. He growled, "Grow." The vines sprang up like whips, wrapping around the debris, crushing and devouring them. The thorn bushes grew into a barrier, and the spikes shone coldly in the sunlight. Beside the pond, the purifying vine roots penetrated into the poisonous water, making a sizzling sound. The water surface turned from inky black to clear, and the fish fry jumped in it, splashing crystal water. Damn it, is this their masterpiece? Yong muttered to himself, his fists clenching until his knuckles turned white. The green warm current surged in his body. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath, feeling the root-like power extending from the soles of his feet into the earth. Confidence swells like a balloon. Come on, let this hell place be reborn. The park transforms in a matter of minutes, towering tree canopies block out the sun, flowers bloom with honey fragrance, and the lawn is as soft as a carpet, making a chirp sound when stepped on. Yong stood in the center, his chest heaving, ecstasy welling up in his heart. I did it. This is power. As more and more people passed by, a young mother pushing a stroller stopped, her eyes widened, and the baby bottle in her hand fell to the ground. Oh my God, why did this park suddenly come to life? Is it magic? The morning jog man next to him rubbed his eyes and gasped, no way. Yes, I vomited here yesterday. What did that kid do? He is a god, right? The flashlight of the mobile phone lit up, and someone broadcast live, dear fans. The miracle of the oasis. Look how thick these vines are. The corporate pollution conspiracy has been slapped. The media caught wind of this, drones buzzing and circling, cameras pointed at Yong. The reporter squeezed forward, the microphone almost touching the tip of his nose. Sir, are you a superpower? Is this the beginning of the Green Revolution? The car door opened with a bang, and a greasy, balding middle-aged man with a rumpled suit and a fake smile came out. He was Fatty Lee, the owner of a polluting company. He glanced at the oasis, his eyes flashed with greed, and then turned to ridicule. Hey, isn't this a street liar? Just a few fake vines trying to pretend to be Superman. I've invested hundreds of millions in this park, it's your turn for a wild boy to run wild. He waved, and 7 or 8 thugs rushed towards him, tattooed arms bulging, iron bars waving, whoosh, surrounding Yong. Yong frowned, his confidence mixed with vigilance. The fat man's eyes were too gloomy, not like a kind person. Liar. How many people have you harmed with your poisonous water, and you still have the nerve to say it? Get out of here, this oasis is mine now. Fatty Lee laughed, his fat trembling, and the corners of his mouth twitched with disdain. Yours? Boy, do you know who I am? A partner of the Tang group. I will make you disappear with just one phone call. Brothers, destroy him. The thugs rushed towards Yong with a ferocious smile, and a leader's stick hit Yong's shoulder. The wind howled. Yong's heart sank, Zhe Kai's warning flashed in his mind, Tang Long gang. Don't be careless. He snorted coldly, looking for death. He pressed his hands on the ground fiercely, and thorns and vines erupted like an angry dragon, hissing, and wrapping around the thug's legs and feet. The sharp thorns pierced the flesh, blood dripped, making a sizzling, corrosive sound. One of the thugs screamed and let go of his stick. Ah, these vines are poisonous. Boss, help me. When he struggled, the vines tightened on his bones and broke with a click. His face turned pale with pain and he knelt down to beg for mercy. The crowd gasped, and the mother hugged the child tightly and stepped back. Her eyes turned from suspicion to admiration, too strong. Those thugs can't even move. The live broadcast barrage exploded, slap in the face. The business owner is dumbfounded. The Green King is awesome. Fatty Lee's face turned livid, he took a step back, cold sweat dripping from his forehead. You monster. Tang Long will not let you go. Yong approached step by step, the vines completely purified the poisonous water, and the water reflected the blue sky. His confidence reached its peak, but he caught a glimpse of the faintly flickering blue light behind Fatty Lee's ears, mind-reading headphones. The sense of crisis is like ice water on top. At this moment, a muffled groan came from the side, a woman fell beside the thorns, her white coat stained with blood, her face as pale as paper. It was Xinyi dressed as a doctor. She tried to approach the park to rescue passers-by, but was hit by the thugs. The wound on her leg was so deep that the bones were visible, and the smell of blood was overwhelming. Damn it! Yong rushed over, his heart tightening. He couldn't let innocent people die. With a thought in his mind, the gentle vines wrapped the wound, and the green juice seeped in, stopping bleeding and regenerating muscle, and, sanding, repaired the tissue. Xinyi opened her eyes, her almond-shaped eyes flashed with shock. You have plant powers? Thank you. She sat up with a gasp, and noticed the bloody wound on Yong's arm that was scratched by a stick. She hesitated for a moment, bit her lower lip, slipped the silver glove from her sleeve, and touched it. Warmth flowed in like electricity, and Yong felt the wound heal, sizzlingly, and the itchy feeling of relief reached his bone marrow. Healing gloves. Yong was stunned, staring at her gentle side face, ripples in his heart. This woman's eyes were clear and not as sinister as Fatty Lee. Xinyi's cheeks were slightly red. She took back her gloves and whispered, "My name is Xinyi, the volunteer doctor here. You saved me, and I will return the favor to you. But, there are big people behind those companies, Tang Long's gang. You can't hold it alone." Her fingers trembled slightly, and worry flashed in her eyes. Yong's throat tightened, and his good feelings spread like vines, but his vigilance remained. Tang Long. Zhe Kai mentioned it. Cooperation. But why should I believe that you are not a spy? Her eyes were firm, and there was a trace of stubbornness in the corner of her mouth. You will know if you try it, right? The Green Revolution needs partners. In the distance, Fatty Lee had fled, but the drone captured the flash of his headphones. Yong clenched his fists. As night fell, the park lights illuminated the oasis, but there was a faint roar of engines. Are the pursuers coming? Can this oasis be defended? Yong's throat rolled, and he swallowed a mouthful of saliva mixed with the fragrance of earth. The strange blue light behind Fatty Lee's ears flashed in his mind, the mind-reading earphones, Tang Long's trick. He whispered, "Don't panic. Sakai's chip is still in my pocket. I have to contact him." He took out the data chip and pressed it into the invisible interface implanted in his palm. The cold metal touch penetrated the nerves like a needle. In an instant, Zhe Kai's rapid breathing sounded in his mind, like a mouse scurrying in a pipe. Boy. The oasis is just an appetizer, and the source of the pollution is directly directed at the Tang Long gang. They use fake chemical plants to launder money. Tomorrow the city hall will send officials to demolish the park to hinder its expansion. Be careful, that guy is wearing an upgraded version of the headset, which can read your brain waves and guess your thoughts. Use plants to interfere with electromagnetic interference and block the signal. The engine roared like a beast, gradually approaching the edge of the oasis park. The harsh squeak of the tires rubbing against the asphalt road cut through the night, sending a chill down Yong's spine. He turned his head sharply, the warm aftertaste of Xinyi's glove still lingering in his palms, his fingertips curled up unconsciously, and the green power in his body surged like a tide, ready to explode at any time. Xinyi also noticed something strange. She bit her lower lip lightly and glanced at the flashing car lights in the darkness. Her voice was slightly trembling but firm. "They are coming, those gangsters will never give up." Damn, the information came in time. Yong's heart was filled with enthusiasm, but mixed with a trace of distrust. This technical geek won't betray me, right? But there was no time to think too much now. He turned to Xinyi and locked his eyes on her pale but stubborn face. Cooperation. Prove it to me. Help me expand the green space. Let this park swallow up half the street tomorrow morning and force those dog officials to show their faces. The two walked side by side to the edge of the park. The new lawn felt soft and moist when they stepped on it, making a chirping sound. The air was filled with the freshness of grass and nectar, which diluted the remaining odor of waste residue. Yong took a deep breath, pressed his hands on the ground, and growled, "Expand." A thunderous rumbling came from the ground, and roots shot out like a giant python, spreading outward along the wall and swallowing the cracks in the asphalt road. The vines rustled, climbed up the street lamps, and the thorn barrier towered into the clouds. The edge of the park expanded several times in an instant. The newspaper kiosk of the roadside vendor was surrounded by green waves. The boss's eyes widened and a cigarette in his hand popped and dropped. Fuck, this is the speed of greening. Boss, are you a green Superman? Xinyi was stunned for a moment, her cheeks flushed pink under the lights of the park. She nodded slightly, her gloves flashing with silver light. Okay, but you have to protect me. Her fingers accidentally touched Yong's arm, and the warmth penetrated into his skin like honey, making his heart shudder, and there was a strange throbbing in anger. This woman is soft yet strong, not annoying. At dawn, the park has transformed into an urban oasis, and passers-by are flooding in. Aunt Qingyun rubbed her eyes and screamed, yesterday it was a garbage dump, today it has become a forest. Did that young man do it? So handsome. The mobile phone live broadcast barrage flooded the screen, Green Revolution uprising. Enterprises are crying. Superpowers are real, begging for fans. Yong stood in the center, confidence in his chest swelled, but suddenly he felt a stabbing pain in his head, as if an invisible hand was fiddled with his thoughts. He frowned and looked around. Among the crowd, there was a middle-aged official, wearing gold-rimmed glasses and a straight suit, holding a briefcase in his hand, and a faint blue light flashing behind his ears. He was Tang Long's disguised deputy director Wang. Xinyi followed. She put on her gloves and touched the roots of the giant vine. The healing energy was injected like a pulse of green light, making a sizzling sound. The vine grew faster, the leaves became thicker, and the flowers bloomed more beautifully. She panted and raised her head, beads of sweat falling down her neck, her voice filled with admiration. Your power is too powerful. It's like the heartbeat of the earth, and it fits perfectly with my gloves. Yong glanced at her, and the corners of his mouth unconsciously raised, thinking, why is this little girl's eyes so seductive? But he suppressed his distracting thoughts and focused on control. Expansion was not enough, he had to set a trap. Deputy Director Wang pushed away the crowd, with an official smile on his face, and his voice buzzed through the loudspeaker. Dear citizens, the expansion of this park is illegal. Municipal projects are blocked, demolish it immediately. Young man, you are growing wildly and destroying public facilities. Believe it or not, I will catch you with a phone call. Passers-by around him whispered, and someone nodded. The official is right, green is good, but you can't do it randomly, right? Deputy Director Wang's eyes were sinister, and his earphones listened to Yong's thoughts. The boy was still hesitating and despising him. Yong's heart was filled with anger, his fists clenched his joints, and his anger surged like lava. I have worked so hard to purify, and you are here to cause trouble, you a loser. Echoes of contempt flashed through his mind, and the corner of Deputy Director Wang's mouth twitched, and his disdain became even greater. What, are you afraid? Are you thinking this official is powerful? Stop it, otherwise. Afraid of your mother. Yong roared, and the crowd was stunned. Xinyi pulled his sleeve and said in a low voice, don't be impulsive, he has headphones. But Yong had already started, slamming his palms on the ground. Green pulses erupted like an electromagnetic net, buzzing, disturbing the air. Deputy Director Wang's earphones shrieked, and he turned pale. He covered his ears and backed away. The signal is cut off. What are you doing? Yong sneered, and the power evolved in his body, summoning electromagnetic vines, filamentous green-veined air, blocking the blue light signal. A tickling numbness went straight through Deputy Director Wang's nerves, making his knees weaken and he fell to the ground. Now, it's my turn to read you. Yong stepped closer, and with a thought, the surrounding soil surged, and a vine maze grew. The towering wall of thorns rose up with a roar, its spikes like a cage, trapping Deputy Director Wang in the center, and the vines tightened with a hiss, causing his suit to tear and his shirt to be soaked with cold sweat. Passers-by gasped, and Uncle Qingyun shouted, this official can't move. The green maze is awesome. A fake official? Look at the thing behind his ear, it looks like a gangster prop. The reporter's drone buzzed closer, and the camera captured the moment when Deputy Director Wang took off his earphones in a panic. The blue light earphones were exposed, with the mark, Tang Long, engraved on them. Yong strode forward and crushed the earphones with his foot. The cracking sound was clear and clear. His pride was like a tide that drowned out his anger. He grinned, Deputy Director Wang. Tang Long's bitch. The source of pollution is your chemical plant. He can read the minds of citizens and eavesdrop on them. Are you manipulating the demolition? Now, your true identity has been exposed in the live broadcast. Deputy Director Wang's face turned pale and he murmured, Tang Long will kill you. However, the vine strangled his throat and he could only gasp. The crowd burst into cheers, and the young mother hugged her child and screamed, slap in the face. The green hero is invincible. The official is an undercover gangster, disgusting. The barrage went crazy, Brother Yong's operation is amazing. Seal the signal plus maze, textbook-level counterattack. Xinyi came closer, with watery eyes, she touched Yong's arm lightly, and the healing warmth accompanied her as she murmured, you are so amazing. I have never seen such a brave man. I like you like this. Her face turned red to the base of her ears, her fingertips trembled slightly, and her love was quietly entwined like a vine. Yong's heart was filled with excitement, and he held her hand with pride and sweetness. Then we will officially cooperate, Xinyi. The Green Revolution will start tonight. But in the distance, a red dot flashed on the top of a tall building, a sniper scope. Tang Long took action himself. Who will stop this time? Yong's heart was still immersed in the sweet aftertaste of just now, Xinyi's fingers were still gently wrapped around his palm, and the warmth was tugging at his pulse like a thread. But the red dots on the top of the tall building were like the devil's eyes, flickering and disappearing, causing his pupils to shrink sharply. The air was suddenly filled with the pungent smell of engine oil, mixed with the smell of burnt tires, and the roar of engines in the distance was approaching like thunder. There was more than one car, it was a convoy. The dark SUV pounced like a pack of wolves, the windows were rolled down, the gun was loaded with a click, and the coppery smell of bullets seemed to have drifted into the nostrils. Sniper! Yong growled, pushing Xinyi to the ground. The smell of wet earth from fresh grass hit his face, and the soft but cold touch made his back tingle. The crowd screamed, and Aunt Xinyi's slippers flew off. She ran away with her head in her arms, her voice trembling like a leaf falling in the wind. Gun! The gang is coming! Green hero, run! The barrage exploded instantly. Fuck, raid! Brother Yong, hold on! The fake official was exposed. Tang Long jumped over the wall. Yong gritted his teeth, and the superpowers in his body surged like a volcano. He summoned poisonous thorn vines, hissed, and shot out a green needle, piercing the thigh of a strong man. The smell of blood instantly filled the air. The guy's face twisted in pain, and his knees hit the ground with a thud, and he shouted, fuck. This. Green things are poisonous. But there were too many enemies, and there was an endless stream of convoys. A dozen gangsters rolled out of the car, and the AK metal in their hands was cold and reflective. The bullets grazed Yong's shoulders, tearing open his sleeves, and blood spurted out. Pain shot straight to his forehead like an electric shock. He staggered back, his vision blurred. Xinyi screamed and rushed towards him, his gloves touched the wound, but the warmth seeped in, but it was of no avail. Yong! Hold on, my gloves don't have enough energy, there are too many of them. Despair flooded Yong's chest like a tide, his heartbeat beat like a war drum, sweat mixed with blood dripped down his chin, making a snap sound when hitting the grass blades. The shadow of Tang Long flashed through his mind. That bastard with headphones was definitely reading his mind from a distance and sent these cannon fodder to consume him to death. A gang leader approached with a ferocious smile, his blade flashing coldly in the sun, spitting stars on Yong's face. Boy, the park is your grave. Boss Tang heard the fear in your heart, Yong was furious, but he was unable to do what he wanted. The summons of the vines slowed down, and the enemies surrounded him. Their fists and feet fell like raindrops, and the cracking sound of ribs made his eyesight go black. It was over, he was really defeated this time. The first wave of bullets poured down like a torrential rain, hitting the soil with a puff. Mud splashed on Yong's cheeks, causing burning pain. He rolled to his feet and slapped the ground with both hands. Green pulses buzzed out, and vines erupted like wild snakes, wrapping around the tires of the nearest SUV. Boom! The car turned sideways, and the crash of shattered glass mixed with the driver's scream. The door twisted and deformed, revealing the ferocious faces of the tattooed men inside. They were holding submachine guns and their eyes were as fierce as hungry wolves. "Boy," Boss Tang said, "I will capture you alive." A figure jumped off the wall, and his leather boots squeaked on the grass when he landed. The tall and lanky young man was wearing sunglasses, a silver bracelet on his right wrist flashed blue, and he was holding a stun baton in his left hand. The corners of his mouth curled up in a playful way. "Tang Long's earphones? I specialize in this. Pulse interference, mind-reading shit." He was Cheng'en, and his eyes glanced sharply at Yong. The voice was cold and arrogant as a tech geek. "Boy, are you Yong? The green star that Zai Kai said. My electromagnetic bracelet just scanned a signal of the sniper scope on a high-rise building. Tang Long is personally monitoring it. The upgraded version of the earphones can read your brain waves to predict attacks. Fortunately, I blocked the pulse in time and interfered with the full frequency. He can't hear the screams in your head now." Just when the fist was about to hit, a blue electric arc, Zila, flashed out from the wall of the flanking park. The air was filled with the smell of burnt electricity. The gangsters who besieged Yong all twitched, their muscles spasmed like an electrocuted frog, and the firearms in their hands fell to the ground with a snap, and smoke billowed out. One of them was not dead yet, foaming at the mouth and muttering, "Electricity, electromagnetic pulse, who?" Yong gasped, half kneeling on the ground, blood dripping from the corner of his mouth, suspicion piercing his heart like thorns. Another uninvited guest. Zakai introduced it. "Who are you? Why should I believe you? What if you are also Tang Long's undercover agent?" He growled, trying to summon vines to defend himself, but he was shaking due to his injuries. Xinyi stood beside her, her gloves glowing faintly, her almond-shaped eyes wary. "Don't come close. Your bracelet looks like a black market product." Cheng'en rolled his eyes, impatience flashed behind his sunglasses, his wristband buzzed, and the blue arc bounced away an approaching gangster. The guy rolled and whined, his skin blistering. "Undercover. I hate Tang Long to the core. He robbed my sister's black market order, and the electromagnetic core was used by his headphone technology. Technique plagiarism. Zakai owes me a favor to give you the information. Now, believe it or not, but if we don't join forces, you too will be dead." He stretched out his bracelet, shining the blue light directly on the tall building in the distance, and the red dot sniper scope went out with a faint sound. Tang Long's ears and eyes were blinded. Yong's heart skipped a beat, and a flame of hope arose in despair. This guy's pulse perfectly complemented my plant. But he still gritted his teeth and tried. "Prove it. You can't withstand this pack of wolves if you work alone." During the conversation, the gangster calmed down, and the leader roared, "Brothers, come on. Kill the electromagnetic boy too." Gunfire started again, and bullets swished at his ears. Cheng'en sneered and shook his wristband. "Proof? Watch it." He shouted, "Yong, the vines conduct my pulse. Combination skills." Yong hesitated for half a second, trust broke out in the desperate situation, pressed his palms to the ground, and roared in a low voice, "Come." The green vines exploded like a giant net, rustling, spread throughout the place. Cheng'en's blue light rushed into the veins of the leaves, and the electromagnetic vines were born. Sizzling buzzing, high-voltage pulses spread along the vines, clearing the area in a large area. The gangsters screamed, and the strong men in the first row fell down when they touched the vines. Electricity shot through their bodies like firecrackers exploding, their muscles twitched and they rolled their eyes. The smell of urine mixed with blood hit their noses. The second row tried to shoot, but the vine's poisonous stings shocked them twice. The spikes penetrated the chest with a pop, and the arc exploded with a pop. His brains splashed on the lawn and became sticky, his eyes widened, his knife slashed at the vines, but the impulse backfired. His arms were blackened and smoking. He knelt down and screamed, "It's impossible. Boss Tang, this." The vines tightened and crunched, the neck bones were broken, and the body was limp. People poked their heads out of their hiding places, and passers-by were stunned. A young skateboarder live-streamed on his mobile phone, barraging with trembling hands, "Electromagnetic plus green vine, a magical combination. Explosive massacre. Brother Yong is resurrected, the team of 3 is invincible. The gangster is crying. Mothers screamed and worshipped, heroes joined forces. Green savior." Yong stood up, most of the wound healed under Xinyi's touch, the pain subsided, replaced by ecstasy like wine pouring on his forehead. He laughed, his blood-stained face was heroic. "Well done, Cheng'en. Your pulse is my plant-killing weapon." Cheng'en took off his sunglasses, showed a sincere smile, patted Yong on the shoulder, and said with the residual heat of the electric ring, "Call me Brother Eng. From now on, a team of 3, Tang Long's earphone empire, we will dismantle it." Xinyi's eyes sparkled, and she held the two people's hands tightly. Formal alliance. Green revolution, invincible. The joy of victory surged through my body like a green wave, the park returned to tranquility, the vines gathered into a barrier, and the fragrance of flowers filled my nostrils. But Cheng'en suddenly frowned, and his bracelet, Didi, alerted, "Wait, there is a second wave of signals from the high-rise building. Tang Long is here in person. What new props are he bringing?" In the distant sky, black clouds loomed overhead, and a drone buzzed and approached, carrying a red-hot missile tail flame. Is joining forces enough this time? Cheng'en's eyes widened, and the blue light of his wristband skyrocketed. The arc of Zila was thrown out like a whip, hitting the wing of the drone with precision. The metal twisted and creaked, making a harsh sound. Sparks flew and it fell crookedly. It hit the lake in the park with a loud bang. The water column shot up into the sky, mixed with debris, and splashed cold water droplets on the faces of the 3 of them. The crowds of morning runners on the roadside screamed and scattered. A fat uncle broadcast live on his mobile phone, his hands shaking like chaff, and the barrage scrolled wildly, "Drone missiles. Tang Long is crazy. Green team is invincible, arc kill. Brother Yong, they are gods, the park has become a battlefield, the police come quickly." Admiring whispers came in like a tide, and the uncle murmured, "Green heroes, they even shot down from the sky, so fierce." The buzz of the drone was like a poisonous bee rushing towards his face, the red heat of the tail flame distorted the air, and the heat wave mixed with the smell of burnt diesel hit his nostrils. Yong's hair stood on end, and the green pulse in his body was still trembling. He took a sharp breath of bloody air and roared, "Cheng'en, pulse it. Xinyi, protect the rear." The joy of victory in his heart instantly solidified into ice, and his fists were clenched so hard that his joints creaked. Tang Long, this bastard, pressed forward every step of the way, never letting him breathe. The 3 of them sneaked into the shadows of the city. When the iron door creaked open at the entrance of the underground warehouse of the black market, the moldy air hit their faces, mixed with the pungent sourness of the medicine. Zai Kai's short and fat figure sprang out from behind the workbench. His eyes flashed nervously and calculatingly behind his glasses. He held a dismantled piece of earphones in his hand. There was a slight smoke coming from the broken edge of the blue chip. "You are here. I saw the live broadcast in the park. The electromagnetic vine combination, genius." But Tang Long upgraded his earphones to read brainwaves. The range is extended to 500 meters, and its weakness is high-frequency pulse overload, like Cheng'en's bracelet, but it needs plant conduction amplification. He pushed up his glasses and said in a voice as fast as a rat's squeak, I have a potion that can be injected into your vine roots to temporarily simulate mind-reading anti-interference in the green veins. When Tang Long listens to your brain waves, it will backfire on himself. Yong frowned, and the premonition of humiliation was like cold water pouring down his back. He growled, prove it. What if this medicine is Tang Long's trap? You owe Cheng'en a favor, don't cheat us. Zakai's face stiffened, beads of sweat rolled down his forehead, and his greasy fingers trembled as he handed the needle. Tricked you? I have been working in the black market for 10 years, Tang Long snatched my order, I can't wait to chop him up. Try the injection, no vices, it works. Cheng'en sneered, the bracelet buzzed, and the blue arc approached Zakai's neck. The short man swallowed, and his knees became weak. Okay, I'll test myself first. He rolled up his sleeves and inserted an acupuncture, and the green veins ran on his arms. His eyes were blurred for a moment, and he woke up and gasped, it worked. After reading the dirty words in the head of the old man next door. In turn, he had a headache and smashed the bottle. During the conversation, the police sirens outside the warehouse approached piercingly, and the red and blue lights flashed through the gaps in the iron doors like the eyes of evil spirits. Yong's heart sank, police. People in the park called the police. Zakai's face was as white as paper, and he trembled, no. Tang Long controls politicians. His earphones read the minds of the city councilors, and they just framed you live. The park gangsters are the terror vines summoned by you, and you are the green terrorist branch, bang. The door was kicked open, and the riot police rushed in with shields in hand. The metal boots stomped on the ground with a deafening sound. The leading police officer's eyes were as blank as a puppet, and his gun pointed directly at Yong. Green terrorists, arrest them without mercy. The evidence is conclusive, the corpse in the park is caused by your plants. Yong's anger surged through his chest, and humiliation was as painful as a knife. His palms trembled slightly, and green pulses erupted with suppressed force. The vines rustled out of the cracks in the ground and wrapped around the policeman's legs. However, he was hit by the electric baton, and paralysis ran straight up his arms. He gritted his teeth and knelt down, and the handcuffs clicked coldly on his wrist bones. He pushed his cheek roughly and hit the iron platform with a bang, and his mouth was full of blood and salty taste. Xinyi screamed and rushed forward, but the glove touched but was swung away by the baton. She fell to the ground and cried, stop. He is a hero. Cheng'en tried to pulse, but was blocked by the shield, and shouted, fuck, Tang Long, a mind-reading politician, this trap is too deep. The policeman's eyes were mechanical, and he murmured and repeated, terrorists, what Boss Tang said. The prison car jolted, and Yong was taken into a high-walled prison. When the iron door, Keng, was closed, the echo was like a seal in a tomb. The cell was cold and damp, and the smell of rusty iron bars mixed with the stench of feces and urine hit his nose. He was huddled in a pile of straw, and his wrist cuffs were scratching his skin. The burning pain and humiliation surged. I saved the park in exchange for a terrorist hat. Tang Long, you headphone dog, wait until I go out and chop you up. The jailer patrolled, and kicked the door with a fat face and a ferocious smile. Green boy, I heard that you summoned vines to kill people. Be honest, the city councilman personally ordered that he be shot immediately. The jailer's eyes flashed greedily, and he licked his lips and whispered, Boss Tang has a bounty of 100,000, and said your head is valuable. Xinyi's fingers trembled slightly, touching the wound on Yong's shoulder, and the warmth seeped into the dry land like spring rain. Worry flashed through her almond-shaped eyes, and her voice was soft but firm, Yong, we have to find Zakai. Tang Long's earphones are tying. He reads our minds and predicts our every step. Yong nodded, his chest heaved, his blood was still boiling, but there was a faint uneasiness like thorns entangled in his heart. This alliance is fresh, and trust is like thin ice. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said in a deep voice, let's go to see Zakai in the black market. Crack the weakness of that earphone, otherwise you will always be led by the nose. Orgasm breaks out. Yong laughed wildly and stood up. His wrist cuffs crunched and were crushed by the vines. The giant vines burst through the cell door like a dragon. Iron filings flew into the air with boom, and the alarm sounded piercingly. The prisoner in the prison woke up with a start, and the skinny monkey prisoner stared wide-eyed. The green god breaks the prison. Damn, the legend is true. There was a scuffle in the corridor. Yong summoned electromagnetic vines, and the Xinyi pulse cleared the area. The jailer fell down when he touched the vines, with muscle spasms and urinary incontinence, and the smell of feces filled the air. He rushed out of the cell, rushed straight to the interrogation room, and kicked the door open. Inside, there was a city councilman in a straight suit, with a face as pale as a corpse. His cell phone was connected to Tang Long. Green, the green terrorists escaped. Impossible. The Yong vine whipped like a whip, wrapped around the congressman's neck. The green needle pierced the jugular, and read the heart and brain waves directly. Tell me. How many politicians did Tang Long control you? Where is the money-laundering chemical factory? The congressman's eyes collapsed, struggling to breathe. 10, a dozen. The weakness of the earphones, high-frequency overload, he now has a headache and vomits blood. The factory is in the eastern suburbs. Green Revolution. Spare your life. Prisoners passed by and watched, and the monkey prisoners shouted, slap the politicians in the face. The green hero is not guilty, the terrorist is Tang Long. The news was like wildfire, and the live broadcast of the crowd outside the prison exploded. Escape from prison. Brother Yong reads the mind and kills. The congressman kneels. The Green Revolution begins. Yong's heart was as furious as a volcano, and the green energy in his body was boiling. He secretly injected Zakai potion. The vine roots slipped through the straw between his fingers, and the rustling spread silently, touching the soles of the jailer's boots. Instantly, anti-mind reading starts. The jailer's brainwaves flooded into Yong's mind. Corruption records, details of Tang Long's bribery, politicians' meetings. Boss Tang listened to the voices of the congressman through his earphones, threatened to expose the scandal, and framed the green boy. The jailer's face suddenly changed. He covered his head and screamed, "Ah! My brain, the green monster is crawling in it." He twitched and fell to the ground, foaming at the mouth, and the key, ding-dong, fell to the ground. Just as she was feeling refreshed, there was an explosion outside the prison. Xinyi's figure jumped into the fire, her gloves shining with silver light. She threw herself into Yong's arms and healed his new wounds with her touch. Her eyes were filled with tears and her voice was trembling and angry. "Idiot. My heart is broken when you are arrested. I risked my life to sneak in and use my gloves to anesthetize the guard, again. If I don't save you, I..." Warmth surged in Yong's heart, and he hugged her waist tightly. Her breath mixed with gunpowder smoke, and his emotional dependence was as deep as a vine. Thank you. This revolution is complete only with you." Her cheeks turned red, and she bit her lips lightly. "In the future, you are not allowed to show off alone." Black clouds weighed down like lead, and mistletoe flames cut through the night on the eastern suburban highway. The orange-red halo illuminated the three figures, and Yong's heart was filled with hot blood but mixed with chills. Tang Long, this mad dog, and the drone army flew together, buzzing like a swarm of bees. The smell of burnt diesel mixed with gunpowder smoke assailed his nostrils, and there was a harsh, hissing, locking sound in the wind. He stepped on the accelerator, and the dilapidated truck jolted like a drunkard. The tires squeaked sharply against the asphalt road. Xinyi gripped the seat tightly, her knuckles turned white, her almond-shaped eyes reflected the flame tail, and her voice was trembling and angry. "Yong, it's too dangerous. The drone has locked on us, I promise. I can't bear the pulse of grace, turn around and hide." Yong gritted his teeth, sweat dripping down his forehead and into his lips, green veins pulsing faintly in his palms. "Hide? I want to go straight to the chemical plant. The Green Revolution is in full swing, and Tang Long's money laundering den will be blown up tonight. Under the roadside viaduct, the flames of the Green Revolution are already raging. After the prison was broken, the live broadcast of the mind-reading confessions of congressmen broke out on the internet. Urban green spaces grew like crazy vines, park lawns tripled, and purifying vine walls sprouted out of the wasteland on the roadside to filter out the smog. The crowd was like a huge crowd. Several young people running at night held up their mobile phones, and the live camera shook to capture the truck. The green god marches eastward. Look, the new vine forest beside the road, the air is sweet. Brother Yong is invincible. Tang Long jumps over the wall. A girl with dyed hair screamed in admiration, and her voice penetrated the wind noise. Hero, come on. Let's plant trees to support. Long live the Green Empire. The barrage went crazy. The assassins are coming. The Yong team combo explodes. The politicians are on their knees. The gangsters are finished. The public was enthusiastic and pushed Yong's back. I am not a terrorist, I am a savior. The truck turned into the abandoned area of the chemical plant. The rusty iron fence squeaked and was knocked open by giant vines. The smell of sour wastewater mixed with chemicals was pungent. Tang Long's drones were hovering at low altitude, shooting red dots like death's scythes. Cheng'en jumped out of the car, the blue light of his bracelet skyrocketed, and the desolate arc was thrown out like a dragon whip, shooting down two of them. The fragments, ding-dong, hit the ground and sparks flew. He sneered, come on, Legion. I will clear the area with pulse. But in an instant, a sudden change occurred, the four shadows of assassins emerging from the shadows, his face covered in black clothes, the sword light, buzzed, electromagnetic resonance, Cheng'en's bracelet short-circuited with a pop sound, and the blue light went out like a candle. His face suddenly turned pale, and he knelt down with a groan, fuck. Tang Long upgraded his earphones and interfered with the frequency of my bracelet. It has failed. Fear pierced his heart like an ice needle, and Yong's pupils shrank suddenly. The first assassin's dagger stabbed directly into his chest. The cold blade tore through his clothes and tore his muscles. His flesh and blood were blurred. Hot blood spurted onto his face, and the salty taste entered his throat. He staggered back, his knees hit the ground with gravel and hurt his bone marrow. His vision blurred into a mist of blood. Is it over? The green veins are still taking effect from the medicine, and the vine roots in the body are struggling to regenerate, but they are as slow as a turtle crawling. The second knife was swung, and the abdomen was hot and pierced, and the intestines were faintly overflowing. He fell to the ground with a low roar, and the gravel scratched his cheek. Yong! No! Cheng'en, protect him! Cheng'en struggled to get up and hit the bridge of the assassin's nose with his fist, which shattered the bones. Blood sprayed all over his face, but he was disturbed by the buzzing of the earphones. His head was in severe pain and he bent over. Damn, the frequency locked my ring. Tang Long read his mind and predicted every move. The leader of the assassins smiled ferociously, his eyes as sinister as a wolf under his mask. The tip of the knife dripping blood pointed at Yong's throat, and taunted in a low voice, Green boy, the headphones can hear your brain waves, are you afraid? Boss Tang said, chop off your limbs and sacrifice them. He waved the knife. Yong's heart surged with despair and humiliation. I fell here in the middle of the revolution. Green veins burst. The vine roots in the body rustled, and the flesh and blood in the wound squirmed and regenerated. New vines pierced the skin and sprang out, wrapped around the dagger and crushed it. The assassin's face froze, and he took half a step back and murmured, the monster is reborn. The young man on the roadside live broadcast stared and screamed, Brother Yong is on the verge of death and fights back. The vines are regenerated, God. The Green Revolution is immortal. The barrage exploded, the assassin is dumbfounded. The three of them wake up, combo. The confrontation was tense, the eyes of the leading assassin flickered with doubts, and the blade trembled slightly. Boss Tang didn't say you can regenerate, retreat? No, kill Xinyi and force you to submit. He rushed towards her, Yong roared and stood up, the green vein potion counter-reading mind was activated, the assassin's brainwaves were poured back, Tang Long was hiding on the roof of the factory, his headphones were overloaded and he had a headache, 50 new legions took off. Yong laughed wildly, with bloodshot lips, you want to retreat? It's too late. Cheng'en, I'll block the frequency, and your pulse will restart. Ear, heal my vine roots. Xinyi got up, holding his arm tightly with her gloves, and the warm current flowed straight into the green veins, and the ZZ vines shone with silver light and felt like electricity rushed through her body, and the pain turned into strength. Her tearful eyes were firm, Yong, trust me, let's be together. Cheng'en was stunned, seeing Yong's eyes were like iron, and blood surged in his chest, brother. You block the mind reading, I will do it. For the first time, the three of them had a tacit understanding. The perfect combo burst. The brave giant vine is like a dragon whip, its roots conduct medicine to counter interference, and the mind-reading brainwaves backfire on the group of assassins. Ah! The leader covers his head and screams miserably, his brain is exploding, and his eyes are bursting with blood. Cheng'en's bracelet, revives, and the blue arc is transmitted through the vine. Zila, the electromagnetic vine network expands. The assassin's touch twitches, his muscles pop and burnt black, and the smell of urine and feces fills the air. All assassins destroyed. Boom, the factory wall collapsed, green vines climbed up the exhaust pipes, and the purifying acid mist evaporated, hissingly. Passers-by live broadcasted the collapse of worship, 3 magical skills. Electromagnetic healing vine combo, assassin gray fly. Brother Yong style, Cheng'en is called Big Brother. The young people knelt down and shouted, the Green Emperor is invincible. The revolution has won. But on the way to escape, Cheng'en's radio buzzed, Yong, a swarm of drones from the eastern suburbs chemical plant has taken off. Tang Long is here in person, with a new headphone army. Shall we go meet him? The black clouds came over the top, and the missile-tail flames reappeared. The shadows on the roof of the factory are like ink pouring, Tang Long's sinister smile echoes among the rusty steel frames, sound waves twist the air, mixed with the high-frequency, buzzing, of the headphones and muttering to himself, green bugs, welcome to die. 50 new drones loom over the environment like black clouds, the propellers, bang, deafening, the tail flames are orange and dazzling, the heat wave hits the face with the smell of burnt diesel, the red dot locks on the 3 people, and the hissing, missile preheating sound in the air is like a viper's message. Yong's heart sank, and his blood instantly turned to ice, 50 frames. Just after the combo tortured the assassin, the green veins in his body were still throbbing again, his muscles were burning, and the smell of blood stuck to the back of his tongue. He growled, get out. Go straight to the edge of Dongshi City, Zhe Kai has an ambush point. The warmth in his arms tried to relieve the pain, but he said tremblingly, Yong. Tang Long read his mind and predicted that we can't run away. Cheng'en squeezed his fist and the blue light of the bracelet faintly revived, and his eyes changed from admiration to fierceness. Brother, pulse the wave, and I will open the way. Drones swooped down, missiles swooshed across the sky, green vein erupted, and giant vines rummed out of the ground, cracking the night sky like long green whips. The rough vine body scratched the skin and caused pain. It entangled the 3 drones and squeaked and crushed them. Metal fragments rained ding-dong and fell, and sparks burned the soles of the feet. Cheng'en used the vines to conduct arcs, and the Zila blue net expanded, shooting down 5 of them. The smell of burnt plasma filled the air. He gasped and grinned. But 50, can't hold on. The 3 of them jumped on the truck, the tires squeaked and spun wildly, the mud splashed with cold water droplets and slapped their faces. They turned the steering wheel bravely, and the car was in danger of rolling over. Xinyi screamed holding his waist tightly, his heartbeat was pounding from the other side. He gritted his teeth and comforted, believe me, the green revolution will not fall. In the rearview mirror, the flame tail chased, the explosion, boom, shook the window glass, the truck snaked like a drunkard to escape from the chemical plant, the night wind roared and filled with smoke, humiliation surged in Yong's chest. Tang Long, are you cutting off my escape? I want you to kneel down. At dawn, an abandoned warehouse on the edge of Dongsha City opened the rusty door with a creak. Zhe Kai's thin figure emerged from the shadows. His eyes flashed eagerly behind his glasses. The silver box in his hand clicked to the ground. The air was filled with the fragrance of motor oil and green leaves. He gasped and adjusted his glasses, scanning the three people's injuries. Yong's abdomen was stained with blood, Cheng'en's face was charred, and Xinyi's clothes were torn. His voice was low and trembling. Brother Yong. You are alive. Tang Long's headset was upgraded, and it read my brainwaves in an attempt to instigate rebellion. I pretended to be a traitor and escaped. Intelligence, he manipulated Shang. Yes, all greening resources, seeds, fertilizers, land, will be cut off. I secretly recorded the call between the Chamber of Commerce bosses last night. Zhe Kai handed over his cell phone, and Tang Long's voice echoed coldly on the screen. The green boy has no food, how can his vines grow? Taunt him, revolution. A beggar's dream. Yong smashed the box with his fist, bang, the metal was dented and his palms were numb, and his anger boiled like green veins. Cut off the confession. I am renovating the park and purifying the smog. The public is crazy about it. How dare the Chamber of Commerce take advantage of it? With the passive humiliation in his chest like a knife, he growled, Zhe Kai, give me the props. I fight back. Zhe Kai's eyes changed from hesitation to determination. He knelt down and pushed open the lid of the box. Pop, silver light flashed, and there was a row of glass cartridges inside. The seeds inside were rolling like black pearls, and they were cool and pulsating to the touch. His throat was rolling and his voice was hoarse. Plant seed bombs. I upgraded the black market, embedded your green vein potion, exploded into the green sea with one bomb, and airdropped into the mall to hit the heart. From now on, I, Zhe Kai, will serve you wholeheartedly, brother. More information. Tang Long's money laundering line leads directly to the headquarters of the Chamber of Commerce. Jinmao Mall has a meeting this morning, and the blockade order is signed. Cheng'en patted him on the shoulder and grinned, good brother. Combo upgrade. Xinyi touched Sakai's arm lightly, the warmth soothed him, and the silver glow of the glove softened. Thank you. Let's work together. Yong's heart was filled with enthusiasm, and the leader was filled with confidence. He grabbed the magazine and loaded it, and the seeds rustled in his palm like a living thing. He laughed wildly, Tang Long, cut off my resources. I will green your nest. Jinmao Shopping Mall Plaza is crowded with people. The senior executives of the Chamber of Commerce are in neat suits and sit around the table. The bitterness of coffee is mixed with cigar smoke in the air. The boss's fat face is shiny. Tang Long's sarcastic voice on the phone echoes through the loudspeaker, green beggar, the seeds are broken. Your vines will starve to death. The Chamber of Commerce is blocked, and all the green materials in the city belong to me. The boss agreed with a sinister smile, Yong. Terrorist. The police have sealed him as a green dot, and the public is hot. Trendy. By water army and search hotly. Passers-by around him were stealing, and several white-collar workers were scornful, green god. Just a liar, the air in the mall is stuffy, who cares about the vines? Yong lurked on the high ground, the wind blew the corners of his clothes, and the seed bullets were cold on the handle. Orgasm breaks out. Jumping out bravely, green veins injected into the magazine, bang bang, seed bombs were dropped into the square like meteors, the glass shattered, pop, the seeds hit the ground and exploded, poof, green light surged like a tide, the vines, rustled, wildly pierced the marble floor, cracked, tore the tables and chairs, the senior executives of the Chamber of Commerce turned pale, the old man the coffee cup fell to the ground and broke. The hot liquid burned his legs and screamed, "Monster! This, green sea!" The vine wall jumped 10 meters high, the veins of the leaves purified the smoke, hissing, the air turned sweet, fresh oxygen hit the nose, the square instantly turned into an oasis, flowers bloomed and the honey fragrance filled the air, passers-by stared blankly, and a girl dropped her mobile phone. Bang, screams turned to admiration, "Oh my God!" The shopping mall turned into a forest. Brother Yong seed bullets, amazing skills. Green Revolution airdrop slaps you in the face. White-collar workers gathered to watch, shocked and turned into fanaticism, shouting, "Get out of the Chamber of Commerce." Brave and invincible, the air is sweet. The barrage live broadcast collapsed, cut off supply. Green Sea ridiculed back. The boss knelt down, the Chamber of Commerce collapsed. The boss staggered back, the vines wrapped around his feet and tightened coldly. He screamed, "Tang Long! Save me! This is impossible!" Yong jumped off the elevated platform, with the giant vine supporting his body, the green veins pulsing in his palms, and his eyes looked down coldly. "Stop the confession. I will green your whole city. Tang Long, it's your turn to vomit blood." The three of them gasped and hugged each other. Cheng'en wiped blood and wiped his face. His eyes turned from cold and arrogant to admiration. He patted Yong's shoulder hard, "Brother, from now on you will take the lead. This combo is invincible." Yong hugged Xinyi's waist tightly, and she pressed her cheek against his chest. Their heartbeats resonated, and their unity and trust were as deep as the roots of a vine. He whispered, "Brothers, at the top of Tang Long's factory, the headphones are overloaded and are vomiting blood, rush." But the drones in the sky were buzzing, the new flame tail was locked, and there was a loud boom in the factory. Tang Long's figure loomed in the shadow, and the evil smile echoed, "Green worm, welcome to die." The reinforced concrete exterior walls of the Greenland headquarters building are covered with vines grown by Yong himself. The leaves rustle in the morning light, releasing fresh oxygen and diluting the pungent sourness of street exhaust. In the square, passers-by gathered more and more. After the live broadcast from the shopping mall went viral, young people with dyed hair pumped their fists and shouted, "Green Emperor." The Chamber of Commerce kneels down, all resources are available. A fat ant wiped away her tears and held her withered potted plant close to the roots of the vine. The touch was as warm as a pulse. She said to others in a trembling voice, "Brother Yong is amazing. The air is sweet like honey, my lungs don't hurt anymore. Those bastards in the Chamber of Commerce, cut off the seeds. Green Sea slaps you in the face, you deserve it." The mobile phone barrage flooded the screen with "Green Revolution Invincible" and "Tang Long get out of Dongshi." The public opinion was like wildfire. The crowds outside the police line were pushing and shoving, their eyes turning from contempt to admiration were directed at the suit dogs sent by the Chamber of Commerce. Those guys' faces were ashen, and cold sweat fell from their foreheads. They whispered to each other, "Boss, the hot search has collapsed. Tang Long's blockade order is a joke." Yong stood on the top platform of the building, with the wind and the aftertaste of gunpowder blowing against his face, and the green juice left by the bullets in his palms was sticky and hot. He hugged Xinyi's waist tightly, her cheeks were flushed and she was close, her breathing was rapid like a deer's collision, and the silver light of her gloves caressed his arms. The warm current penetrated into the muscles to relieve the soreness, and whispered, "Yong, the public is on your side, but the assassin that Zhe Kai said." Before he could finish his words, Zhe Kai's cell phone buzzed wildly, his face became thin and pale, his glasses slipped down the bridge of his nose, and his fingertips were cold. Entering the screen, his voice sounded as if it was squeezed out of his throat, "Brother." After Tang Long's earphones overloaded, he read the information about my fake mole. He sent 50 people from the Assassins' League to attack here. But, wait, the surveillance shows that there is a ghost inside, the the logistics were hacked, and the door lock of the Vine control room was unlocked, Didi. Cheng'en clenched his fists, the blue light of his bracelet flashed uncertainly, and he glanced at Zakai with a fierce look. You kid, you turned into a traitor just after you pledged your allegiance. Tang Long succeeded in instigating rebellion. The air froze instantly, Yong's heart sank, his green veins felt like being pricked by ice needles, and a throbbing pain shot up his back. Zakai. The box props and secretly recorded information just now were all traps. The trust in his chest was like shattered glass. He turned around sharply, his eyes as cold as blades staring at Zakai's thin shoulders, his voice low and murderous. Tell me. What did Tang Long give you? Money? Or a headphone upgrade? I'm going to slap the Chamber of Commerce in the face with the Green Sea airdrop, and you're selling me behind. Zakai took a half step back, hit the box with his heel and, boom, his eyes flickered behind the glasses, his hands were waving around, and his fingertips touched the frame of the glasses with trembling. Brother Yong. It's not me. I faked my death to prove my innocence. Tang Long read his mind and predicted, assuming this false information makes you suspect me, the mole is the logistics guy, I recorded his call last night. But before he finished speaking, there was a loud bang in the building, the fire in the direction of the control room burst into the sky, the vine alarm hissed, and twisted and broke, the assassin's black shadow rushed in like a ghost, and the sword light swished across the sky, with a metallic chill grazing the edge of the platform. Yong's head was buzzing, and the green veins were running out of control, doubts were lingering in his heart like poison ivy, green juice was surging in his body, seed bullets exploded in the palm of his hand, and countless thin vines danced like wild snakes, piercing the cement of the platform and cracking into pieces, almost wrapping around Zakai's ankles. Xinyi screamed and hugged his waist, her heartbeat was pounding through the clothes, her gloves pressed hard on his chest, the warm current numbed him and suppressed him out of control, her almond-shaped eyes flashed with tears. Yong. Calm down. Zakai's eyes don't lie. Cheng'en jumping forward to block, the electric arc exploded the shield, and the blue net blocked the collision of the three assassins' daggers. The scorched smell hit his nostrils. He shouted, Brother, kill the assassin first. Zakai, where is the evidence? There is nothing. I'm going to kill you first. Zakai's throat rolled, and he knelt down to smash open the hidden compartment at the bottom of the box. The microprojector popped up, and the phone call recording echoed with a cold and familiar voice. Zakai is a fake mole. Okay, I'll give you the fake death potion, and I'll read your mind to confirm. Shaoli, open the door and release the assassin, be brave and suspicious, and the green veins will explode. In the picture, Shaoli, the logistics boy, with a twisted and greedy face, and a faint glow from his earphones, is Tang Long's mind-reading implant. The truth of the betrayal hit him like thunder. Yong's pupils shrank suddenly, shock turned to rage, and the green veins turned from out of control to precise explosion. He roared, Zakai, brother, I'm sorry. Giant vines boomed from the soles of his feet, like a green giant python jumping off the platform. The thin thorn vines locked onto Shaoli's hiding place, and the air hissed with poison. Juice splattered, Shaoli screamed, and the high-frequency, buzzing, of the earphone started to backfire. Tang Long's mind-reading waves reversely rushed into the assassin's mind. The eyes of the men in black flashed, the corners of their mouths twitched and killed each other. The blades pierced into the chests of their companions with a pop, bloody heat waves sprayed, and the headphones overloaded the plasma with a pop burst. A pot exploded in the square, and the uncle stared at the sky. The Green Emperor is fighting back. The assassins are fighting among themselves, the headphones are buzzing. Tang Long's control is exposed. The girls screamed and turned into ecstasy. The traitor Shaoli is the seller, Zakai is a loyal minister. The Green Revolution, public opinion has completely switched sides, and the Chamber of Commerce Tang Long is over. The assassins' alliance collapsed, and the remaining 10 people fled with their heads in arms. The Vine network Shasha tightened and cut off the earphones. The mind-reading backlash spread like a virus. Tang Long's distant roar was vaguely distorted, Green Worm, you ruined my game. Yong fell to the ground, his chest changed from shock and humiliation to a determined flame of revenge. He hugged Zhe Kai's shoulder and gave him a heavy blow, and the green veins in his palms conveyed the warm current of trust. Brothers, we are monolithic from now on. Tang Long, money laundering chemical factory, earphone Black City, poached them all. Zekai's glasses were filled with tears, and he fought back with blood. Brother, never betray. Xinyi touched everyone lightly, and the warm current healed the burn marks. Cheng'en grinned and fist bumped. Combo is invincible. The public knelt down to worship more intensely, and the barrage collapsed. Tang Long's conspiracy exploded. The Green Emperor's loyal iron triangle, the assassin kneels. But the sky buzzed again, and the black clouds of drones reappeared, mixed with low roars. Tang Long is here in person. The buzz in the sky was like a swarm of bees rioting, and it quickly expanded into a low rumble. 50 drones were looming over the sky, and infrared lasers were strafing the ground of the square. Scorch marks were exploding and cement debris was flying, mixed with the loud sound of helicopter propellers tearing the air. Yong's heart trembled. The green juice in his palms was still sticky and hot like blood pulsating. He raised his head sharply, and his pupils reflected an even more horrifying scene. Dongsher military and police armored vehicles rumbled through the streets, their tracks crushed dead trees on the roadside and broke with a click. Searchlights pierced the morning fog like the white eyes of ferocious beasts. Sirens blared, woo, mixed with the cold mechanical sound of the loudspeaker. Green terrorists, surrender immediately. Mr. Tang Long ordered that anyone who disobeys will be killed. Passers-by in the square instantly exploded. A young man with dyed hair shouted, "Green Emperor." His face turned pale when he saw this, his legs weakened and he stepped back and tripped his companions. Boom, he fell into the crowd and screamed, "Military police. Tang Long is serious, Green Emperor, run." The fat ant hugged the potted plant tightly, and murmured in a trembling voice with tears in her eyes, "Brother Yong, don't leave us." The flames of revenge in Yong's chest were poured with cold water, and his green veins throbbed as if being struck by an iron pincer. He tightened his grip on Zhe Kai's shoulders, his knuckles creaked and turned white, and growled, "Tang Long, that bitch, reads your mind and predicts the backlash of public opinion, and destroys it in the name of the military and police." Before he finished speaking, Zhe Kai's eyes flickered behind his glasses, and his phone buzzed again. Vibrating, his fingertip stabbed the screen with cold fingers, and his voice came out of his throat like minced meat. "Brother, the surveillance hacking failed." Tang Long's headset was upgraded, and the brain waves covered 500 meters. "He read your intention to erupt in the Green Sea just now, and the helicopter bomb was locked." Cheng'en's fist hit the platform railing, Keng, and the blue light bracelet, Zila, exploded with arcs. The scorched smell hit his nostrils, and he glared at Sakai. "Boy, your intelligence is lagging behind again. Electromagnetic pulse interferes with the drone, please give me the frequency." Sakai's throat rolled, sweat dripped from his forehead and his collar became wet, and he was horrified. "The frequency has changed." Tang Long counterinterferenced, "My brainwaves pretended to be seen through." The air was as solid as lead, and the communication between the iron plate was cracked again. Yong glanced at Sakai with cold eyes, and doubts surged in his heart. "Brother, you won't do it again." Xinyi's apricot eyes flashed with tears, and her silver gloves grasped Yong's arm urgently. The warmth seeped in like spring rain, anesthetizing the green veins and running wild. She whispered with trembling, "Yong, believe them. My heart beats to tell you, I'm not lying." The drone swooped down, the missile tail flames burned his face, and Yong's head was buzzing. Tang Long's sneer was heard through the loudspeaker, "Green worm, I read you. Are the vines greening? I predict the trajectory of your bullets, and the military and police network tightens." The armored vehicle's machine gun fired, tat-tat, and the bullets, ding-ding, hit the edge of the platform, sparks flew, and debris fell like rain. His face hurt. Yong pulled everyone to jump down, and the giant vines boomed and landed on the ground. Green juice splashed through and soaked his clothes, which were sticky and cold. But the moment he landed, his mind-reading predictions were like invisible shackles. He originally wanted to summon a vine net to surround him, but his brainwaves were captured by Tang Long's earphones. The military and police flash bombs exploded with bang bang, the white light was dazzling like needles piercing the brain, and the yellow mist of tear gas filled the air with hissing. Choking until his lungs were on fire, passers-by coughed and screamed, "The Green Emperor's trap." Tang Long read his mind, "It's crazy, we're finished." Yong knelt down and coughed up blood, the green veins surged back, despair was like a flood, and the pain in his chest was like a boulder. Damn. I've been read through everything, one wrong step, and you'll die at every step. Tang Long, you win. Xinyi rushed towards him, her cheeks flushed and she pressed her hands against his back. The warm current surged to heal her lung injury, and she breathed quickly like tears, "Yong, don't despair, I love you. From the day I woke up, your green veins saved my life, and I will follow you in this life." The confession was like an electric shock. Yong's pupils shrank suddenly, despair turned to warm blood and flowed through his heart. He turned around and kissed her forehead, salty tears mixed with green juice. I will not fall. Prove it to you. The reversal breaks out in an instant. Yong roared, Cheng'en, electromagnetic vine conduction. Zikai, brain wave medicine to counter interference. Warm current to stabilize the pulse. Cheng'en grinned cruelly, and the blue light of the bracelet flashed wildly, and the arc of electricity rushed into the green veins of Yong's palm, paralyzing the current like the acupuncture fuses, and the vines evolve instantly. The electromagnetic vines burst open the blue net with a snap, interfering with the brainwaves of drones. 50 buzzers lose control and collide with each other, boom, and fall into fireballs, and the charred remains hit the street with a boom and shake the ground. Zikai smashed the potion into the root of the vine, and the green juice boiled back and read the mind waves. Tang Long screamed, "Ah!" in the loudspeaker and twisted, brain waves, rebound. Impossible. The green fortress rises from the ground, the veined walls, rust, to block bullets and, clang, and sparks fly around, the poisonous thorn vines hiss, spray juice and dissolve the armored vehicle tracks, sizzle, corrode and smoke, the electromagnetic blue net shield pushes back the military police, the soldiers are electrocuted to the ground and twitch, spasms. The high-frequency overload of the headphones explodes and sprays plasma on the head. The fortress was formed, Yong stood at the top, the wind blew the leaves in his face, and the domineering green veins pulsed like an emperor. He laughed loudly and shook the square. "Tang Long, read your mind. I'm a 3-in-1 combo, all my brainwaves are backlash. Military and police get out." The passers-by turned from despair to fanaticism. The uncle glared and wiped tears, pointing to the sky and shouting, "Green Fortress. The electric vine is invincible, the military and police are on their knees. Fat Ant, look, the air is so sweet, Brother Yong is the God Emperor." The young people pumped their fists and shouted, "Green Emperor's wife fan, Sister Yi's love buff," and the barrage collapsed. Tang Long's mind-reading failed, slap in the face. The Green Revolutionary Military Police defected. The soldier's eyes flickered, his mouth twitched and he dropped his gun and knelt down. The earphones backfired like a virus. Tang Long roared from the far end, "Green Worm, you ruined my Dongsha." The helicopter fled in a hurry, and the green castle vine whip snapped the propeller and crashed. The top executives of the Chamber of Commerce were paralyzed, and the signature paper was melted by the vine juice. The crowd knelt down to worship. A passerby with dyed hair cried in tears, "Brother, all resources are available. Long live the Green Emperor." Yong's heart changed from passive humiliation to active ecstasy. But Sakai's cell phone vibrated and his expression suddenly changed. "Brother, new information." Tang Long's earphones were overloaded and revived. He summoned the Black Market Assassin Alliance and went straight to the Greenland headquarters. There was a faint hum in the sky, and shadows were approaching. At the top of the green castle, the night wind mixed with the smell of burnt earth hit my face. the rustling of leaf veins whispered like the murmur of thousands of people. Yong's chest rose and fell, and the residual heat of the green veins made his shirt stick to his skin, like a second layer of burned skin. He hugged Xinyi's waist tightly, her cheek pressed against his chest, and the warm gloves pressed gently to relieve the wild beating of her heart. Their breaths intertwined into a sweet hot mist. Cheng'en smashed the giant vine with his fist, and the blue light bracelet was still generating residual electricity. He grinned and turned his glasses to Zhe Kai. Boy, the information is finally timely, chemical plant. I will explore the path with electromagnetic pulse first. Zhe Kai's face was thin and pale, and his forehead sweat slipped into a wet patch on his collar. The dim light of the mobile phone screen reflected his trembling pupils, and his throat rolled. The voice was squeezed out as if being strangled. Brother, the abandoned chemical factory in the eastern suburbs of Tang Long base, the underground laboratory where the blueprints are hidden, and the upgraded version of the mind-reading headset are all there. But the surveillance showed that he was there in person, with the brainwave diffuser fully open, reading all the thoughts within 500 meters. The four of us forced our way in, and the brainwaves flashed and we were exposed. Yong's eyes were as cold as knives, and his green veins throbbed in anticipation of murder. He lowered his head and kissed Xinyi's hair, the salty green juice mixed with her fragrant sweat. His heart surged. Tang Long is a bastard. If the military and police fail, he will fight in person. If he gets the blueprint, he can copy the mind-reading network that backfired on him. Danzi Kaiqing, there is always a lag in reporting, believe it or not. Before the words were spoken, Xinyi looked up with her almond-shaped eyes and held his palm with a silver glove. The warmth seeped in like a spring, numbing the clouds of doubt. She whispered with trembling, Yong, the team is iron-blooded. Zhe Kai's eyes were filled with panic, not because of betrayal, but because he was afraid. I would touch him. Pulse, loyal as iron. Cheng'en's fist touched Yong's shoulder, and the electric arc stung his skin, and he glared at Zakai. Boy, give me a prop. I don't believe that Tang Long can read through my electromagnetic shield. Zakai gritted his teeth and handed over the black market invisibility cloak. The fabric was as cold as mist. The air was stagnant, and Yong was slightly surprised in his heart. Cheng'en is extremely confident, but he missed the risk of getting close. Go in, who will stab you in the back first? The night is like ink, and the iron gates of the chemical plants in the eastern suburbs are squeaking. The pungent chemical acid smell is like a knife scraping the lungs. The pipes in the distance are gurgling and emitting yellow mist, and the steaming heat wave is scalding the face. The four young men were wrapped in cloaks, their footsteps silently trampled the glass shards, click-click, and their heartbeats sounded like war drums in their chests. Zakai took the lead, poking at the palm terminal with cold fingertips, and murmured, the entrance to the sewer, the blueprint is in the B2 laboratory. Tang Long's brainwaves are like radar, don't think about revenge. The blue light of Cheng'en's bracelet flashed slightly, and the electromagnetic pulse probed the path. He chuckled at the game, boy, lagging information. I have electromagnetic full-frequency blockade, what a nonsense. Zakai's mouth twitched, his eyes flashed behind his glasses and he retorted in panic, the frequency has changed 3 times, and last time you were in the square. Yong raised his hand to stop it, the green veins pulsed in anticipation of cracks, and he snorted coldly in his heart, brothers are spying on each other, and penetration will cause changes, endure. Xinyi's gloves gently touched everyone's shoulders, and the warm current buffered the tension, and her breathing was as fast as crying, believe in each other, the blueprint is near. The slippery moss in the sewer is crushed under the feet, the gurgling water is cold and soaks the ankles, the musty smell mixed with chemicals is pungent, green juice quietly seeps out from the palm of Yong's palm, and the vines crawl along the veins of the wall like a living snake, exploring the enemy silently. In front of the B2 laboratory, the cold steel door reflected the faint blue light. Cheng'en punched the coded lock, Kang, the blue electricity rushed into the desolate fuse and the door slid open with a boom. The blueprint projection floated and flickered in the air, the mind-reading headset chip image, and the brainwave amplification circuit was as clear as a net. Zhe Kai's eyes were filled with heat, and he poked at the download with his thin fingers. The progress of Didi on the screen jumped. Brother, 80%, Tang Long is not here. Yong breathed a sigh of relief, his green veins relaxed, and he was ecstatic. The blueprint is in hand, and it will backfire on his mind-reading empire. 2NEI. Tang Long's sneer burst from the loudspeaker. Green worm, I read your intention to download. Cheng'en, you're electromagnetic. I have implanted the back door long ago. Cheng'en's pupils shrank suddenly, and the blue light of his bracelet went out of control and exploded with an electric arc boom. The green veins surged back and the pain was like burning, and the rust and blood spurted out from his mouth. Cheng'en. You, read and control the mind. Cheng'en's eyes were empty, the corners of his mouth twitched like a puppet, and the machine roared, Brother. I'm sorry, Tang Long ordered, kill the green bugs. He raised the electric shock stick high, blue lightning danced wildly, and the air was scorched and smelly. Xinyi screamed and rushed towards Cheng'en. The warmth of her glove surged and pressed Cheng'en's arm, but was bounced away by the arc. She fell to the ground, her shoulders were blackened, and her eyes were full of tears. Cheng'en, wake up. We are brothers. Zakai stepped back, his legs were weak, and his glasses fell to the ground. Cracked, his voice was trembling and misunderstood, I told you earlier. Tang Long was implanted close to him, he betrayed. Hearing the sound, the gang guard rushed in. A strong man pointed at Cheng'en and shouted in shock, the boss controls the second master. The green guy is so powerful, even the electromagnetic king backfired. The other skinny monkey's face turned pale, his legs shook and he stepped back and tripped his companion. Boss Tang is invincible in mind reading, how can he defeat this green leader? We are finished. Yong knelt down and coughed up blood, his green veins pulsing like 1,000 insects eating his heart, and his inner despair turned to anger. Cheng'en, you plagiarize hatred, how can you stab in the back? Tang Long, infiltrate your doghouse, I will kill you with parasitism. Green juice splashed out from his palm, and thorny vines hissed out, like a rain of green needles shooting into Cheng'en's ear canal, parasitizing the mind-reading headset chip. The Rot-10 wire drilled into the eardrum and made a wet sound, the plant enzyme corroded the circuit and smoked, the brainwaves backfired like an electric current, and the screamed and twisted in Tang Long's speaker, plant parasitism. The earphones disintegrated, impossible. Cheng'en's body spasmed and convulsed with, and the arc of electricity caused self-injury and his arm flesh was scorched black. He knelt down and held his head, his eyes turned from empty to clear, tears mixed with blood on his face, and his voice was choked with sobs. Brother, Tang Long's mind-reading implant is implanted in the back door to control my fists. I'm sorry, I almost killed you. Yong pounced on him, and the green-veined warm vine wrapped around his wound to heal. The two fists bumped, and the arc of green juice merged with the numbing heat. He growled and trembled, Brother, just wake up. I believe in you, from the day you awaken. Xinyi got up, pressed her gloves on Cheng'en's chest, and the warmth synchronized with her heartbeat. She hugged the three of them with tears and laughter. We are like family, and we will never betray you. Zhe Kai wiped his tears and picked up his glasses, with a slim face and blood. Brother, the blueprint is downloaded. Tang Long escaped. Yong hugged Xinyi's waist and kissed her affectionately to confirm. She buried her face in his chest and her heartbeats were beating in synchrony. The brothers fist bumped passionately, but Zakai's cell phone buzzed again, and his face turned pale. Brother, in the eastern suburbs of Tang Long Chemical Factory, I read about a bigger conspiracy. Politicians have all earphone implants, Green Castle is exposed, he wants nuclear bomb-level revenge. The laboratory blueprint projection shattered into light spots with a pop and dissipated. Zakai's terminal buzzed wildly like a honeycomb collapsing, and the red countdown number beat bloody, 29:59. The air instantly solidified into lead and pressed against his chest. Yong's nose was filled with the smell of burnt electricity mixed with blood and rust. He clenched his fists tightly, his knuckles turned white and stung his skin. His heart felt like a volcano erupting. Tang Long bastard, EMP nuclear explosion in Dongsha. I've just started the Green Revolution. Are you just going to play nuclear bomb? If the blueprint backlash is not enough, the headquarters will blow up your mind-reading brain. He turned around suddenly, his green-veined arm sprayed green juice, and the vines exploded along the ground like a wild python, and the iron mesh on the ceiling was smashed. A rain of gravel poured out, and dust hit his face, making him cough. The three of them hugged each other, their chests pounding in resonance, and they pledged their loyalty to each other. Brother, from now on, I will be with you forever. Tang Long copied electromagnetism, and I owe you my life. Yong's loud laughter shook the laboratory, and his heart was filled with emotion. Iron-blooded family members, the Green Revolution is invincible. Dan Zakai's terminal buzzed sharply, and his face turned pale as he poked the screen with his thin finger. Brother, the blueprint is attached, the politicians' earphones are all implanted, and the nuclear-grade EMP bomb is about to be detonated in Dongqing, 30 minutes. Xinyi's apricot eyes flashed with tears, and the warm silver light of her gloves surged and pressed against everyone's back. The touch was like melting frost in a mother's arms. Her breathing was rapid, her chest heaving, and her neck was sticky with fragrant sweat mixed with green juice. She whispered with tears but was as firm as iron. Yong, families are not separated, even if they are cured, we will advance together through blood. Tang Long cannot be separated. Dan Zakai's thin face was as white as paper, his pupils trembled and enlarged behind his glasses, his throat rolled and he swallowed gudong, and the terminal responded with his fingers. Horrified, his voice was jerky and he squeezed out of the game. Brother, the surveillance shows that Tang Long has read the minds of the three of you and locked the intention of the three of you. He controlled the 50 remnants of the gang to surround Area C, and the politicians' headsets were all connected to the internet. The electromagnetic storm wiped out the ground before the EMP was detonated. Zakai's intelligence is lagging behind, do you believe it? Rush out, it's a dead end. The air was as oppressive as the sultry heat before the storm, and Yong was slightly surprised in his heart and turned angry. The kid is panicking again. Last time I saved your life, but this time I spy on my brothers. Forbearance, don't fight in a crisis. Yong laughed loudly and shattered the glass residue with a click. The green veins erupted and the vine network hissed, and woven into the green castle shield, wrapping around everyone like a living carapace. The touch was rough and warm and pulsating. He roared with cold eyes and locked Zai Kai. Boy, delayed intelligence saved my life, believe you. Rush to Area C, the plant empire is holding the battle, and Cheng'en's electromagnetic storm is opening the way. Xinyi immortal endurance, Tang Long, I am a mind reader, Green Sea. The four people rushed out with their footsteps smashing through the rubble, their cloaks wrapped in fog and their brainwaves refracted invisibly. The sewer water gurgled coldly at their ankles and rushed to the ground in a blink of an eye. The iron tower in Area C of the chemical plant towered into the night sky. The red lights flashed like blood eyes. The yellow mist steamed and the heat wave burned the face and penetrated the lungs. Breakout moment. The remnants of the gang came out of the fog with boom. 50 strong men were dancing wildly with electric batons, ZZ, with blue electricity, and the guns were loaded with click. The leader Scar's face was twisted and sinister, and the earphones glowed faintly. Boss Tang's mind-reading lock. Green bug differentiation, Cheng'en, your electromagnetic backdoor is still there, kill the brave leader. Cheng'en's pupils shrank suddenly, and his bracelet lost control. Plop, tap, tap. The arc of self-explosion burned the flesh of his arms. He took a step back, his trembling fist pointed at Yong's chest, his voice struggled like a beast and roared, brother, come again. Tang Long read my guilt, amplified the control. I can't bear it. Yong's heart was like a knife stabbing, and the green vines instantly wrapped around Cheng'en's legs, hiss, preventing parasitic thorns from parasitizing, and the touch was itchy like a rain of needles. He shouted with game eyes, Ruju, brother, trust me. The last time the vine parasite broke the game, this time the electromagnetic vines combined with the shield to backfire on his mind-reading network. Cheng'en gritted his teeth and said, "Ah," the blue electricity flowed backwards through the vine veins, Zila, and merged, the green and blue electric vines surged like thunder whips whipping the air, pop, the leader of the remnants of the party Scar glared and stumbled, his legs weak, and he roared in shock, the electromagnetic king reversed. Green vines ate electricity and turned into monsters. Boss Tang lost his ability to read his mind. The green leader became a leader. The brothers fought among themselves and joined forces. "We are finished." The other short and fat man's face turned pale. The gun barrel trembled and fell to the ground. He retreated and bumped into his companions, stumbling into a ball. He screamed in fear, "Impossible." The boss knew everything about the plan, so how could he be surrounded by the green sea electric storm? The conflict escalates. The loudspeaker at Tang Long's headquarters twisted and burst into laughter. "Green worm, read your love weakness. Xinyi, Yong's heartbeat was exposed when he kissed you. Healing gloves are close to him, kill him." The stickiness and heat melted around her waist, and the vine flesh regenerated and instantly healed her palm. He kissed her forehead with a low voice and kissed the salty sweat. "Silly girl, my family is bleeding, and I love you so much that I am invincible." The warm current plus green juice buff exploded, and the immortal green castle grew 10 feet tall. The sea of vines boomed and engulfed the remaining party, the electromagnetic storm sizzled, and the blue thunder danced wildly and tore apart the steel frame of the iron tower and crunched and collapsed, and the EMP device buzzed, overloaded and flashed red light, timing 1947. Orgasm breaks out. Everyone rushed forward in blood. Cheng'en's electric arc fist hit the base of the tower, boom, blue electric vines locked onto Tang Long's figure, the insidious gang leader's earphones shattered and blood flowed into his ear canal, his face twitched and howled miserably. Plant Empire, mind-reading crush. Yong Green Vein finally summoned, the Plant Empire's giant vine blasted the top of the tower, the vine network tightened, creaked and squeezed out the mind-reading chip, pop, sparks flew everywhere. Sakai's terminal panicked and disconnected the network. Didi, the politician's earphones were all black. Tang Long knelt down and vomited blood, his eyes turned from arrogance to despair, and the remnants of the gang scattered and fled screaming, "King of the Green Revolution. Boss Tang is finished, we surrender." The three of Yong hugged each other, their chests pounding, the arc of blood, sweat and green juice mixed with sticky heat. Cheng'en's knees softened, and the blue light of the electric ring burned his trousers black. He gritted his teeth and stood on the ground, his eyes were as guilty as knives, and his voice was hoarse and vibrated with electric arc. "Brother. I have been manipulated, and I owe you my life." EMP is the heart of Tang Long's headquarters, the core tower of Area C of the chemical plant. He summoned the remnant party is there, mind reading is fully deployed. The four of us split up. No, iron-blooded charge. Before he finished speaking, he hit the ground with his fist, and the electromagnetic pulse spread, the steel bars of the wall twisted and bent, and the light tube exploded and sparks flew out, reflecting the veins on his face like the anger of a thunder god. There was a muffled boom at the bottom of the tower, like a heart resuscitating from hell. The hidden hatch squeaked and twisted open, the spare EMP core ejected, the red light flashed like a blood fountain, and the timer jumped bloodily. 9:59. The heat wave mixed with the pungent smell of ozone hit his face, making the skin on Yong's cheeks tight and red. His nose was filled with the bitter taste of burnt metal. His fists clenched tightly, and his knuckles stung like needles pricking his heart. The wild waves in his heart surged, the joy of revenge instantly condensed into an ice blade. "Tang Long, you bastard, your mind-reading network is broken and you still hide a nuclear explosion. I have a green revolution burning to the horizon, and you just want to die together. There is no way." Zakai's face was so thin that he turned pale, and his pupils were dilated like black holes behind his glasses. His throat was rolling and he was swallowing saliva. His fingers poked wildly at the terminal and it made random noises. His voice was as sharp as broken glass and trembling. "Brother. The backup core is self-locking, mind-reading residual wave shield, electromagnetic vine can't get close. The intelligence is wrong, Tang Long is hiding 3 swords in his smile, we are all in trouble. Before he finished speaking, his eyes flashed with guilt and doubt, and he took half a step back and hit the gravel. Crack, the air was as oppressive as the sweltering heat before the storm, everyone was breathing rapidly, their chests were heaving, and beads of sweat were falling down and mixed with blood. Cheng'en's knees weakened, and the blue light of the electric ring flashed around and burned black smoke. He gritted his teeth and braced himself on the ground. His veins popped out like steel cables. His fist hit Zhe Kai's shoulder with a dull, boom, sound. The electric arc went numb and went into Zhe Kai's arm, making him ouch, shrinking, his voice was hoarse and he roared game, boy, are you panicking again? Last time, you were delayed in saving your life, but this time you stabbed your brother. I'm still hot at the back door of the electromagnetic field, so I'll bite it back. Zekai threw away his hand, his slim face twitched, his mouth trembled, and he pushed up his glasses. The counterattack looked like a knife, hot shit. Your guilt is magnified, Tang Long reads your mind and locks your brain, Tang Xiao lets us fight among ourselves. The 2 men were breathing heavily while confronting each other. The smell of gunpowder was so strong that it choked their lungs. Pressing the 2 people's backs, the touch was as warm as melted snow but itchy with electric shock. Her breasts rose and fell rapidly, and the fragrant sweat slid down her neck. She whispered firmly, choked with sobs, stop. Family members are not separated. Zhe Kai, Xin Yong, his green veins can read minds and backfire invincibly. Yong laughed loudly and shattered the iron filings around him, crack. The green-veined arm hissed, and sprayed green juice like blood boiling. He rushed forward, one hand, pop, wrapped the rattan silk around Zhe Kai's waist as rough and pulsating as warm as the heartbeat, the other hand covered Xinyi's waist with green juice that was sticky and hot, his eyes were cold and locked on Cheng'en Ruju, and he roared to resolve the conflict, boys, don't fight among yourself in a crisis. Zekai's intelligence is iron-blooded, Cheng'en's electromagnetic is opening the way, Xinyi's immortal buff, the ultimate form of my plant empire, electromagnetic green nuclear purification. The blood in my heart bursts out, from office worker to king, at this moment, I grow like a vine and explode soil, the fusion of love, iron and blood, invincible. Tang Long knelt down and vomited blood. Bloodshot threads snaked in his ear canals. His face twitched from arrogance to a desperate smile. His broken earphones beeped slightly. His throat rolled and squeezed out the last game. His voice was distorted like a ghost howling, green worm, read you, Team Rift. Zekai has a guilty conscience, Cheng'en is guilty of blowing up the tower, and Xinyi loves to be weak. The nuclear explosion took 10 seconds, and the green sea in Dongsha was reduced to ashes. The red light jumped backwards at 8:22, the heat wave steamed and burned the face, and several strong men were scattered. The man climbed up, aiming the gun with a trembling click, and the leader Scar's face was distorted and he roared in fear, the green head has taken the lead. The internal fighting has been resolved, divine electricity has merged with the monster. Boss Tang's mind reading failed, we surrender, please spare your life. Another short and fat man stumbled with weak legs, and the gun fell to the ground with a pop, bumping into his companions, and screamed in shock and admiration, no way. Ordinary green bugs have become the king of the empire, the gang is over, long live the green revolution. Orgasm breaks out. The ultimate summons of the brave green veins, the giant vine, boom, blasts out of the base of the tower like a green dragon out of the sea. The pulsating heartbeat of the vine sea is rough and warm and entwines everyone into an imperial fortress. The thin thorn vines hiss, lock the EMP core, and the needle rain parasitizes and corrodes the red shell, sizzling, and emits white smoke. Cheng'en roared and punched the wall of the tower, boom, blue electric pulses reversed the vine veins and merged with, pop, thunder whips danced wildly, the electromagnetic vines drilled into the core gap like a blue and green python, the overloaded red light flashed, buzz, and the buzzer was piercing. His arm flesh was charred and bloody, but he smiled fiercely and had an iron-blooded look. Brother, fusion is invincible. The back door bites back and blows it up. Xinyi smiled with tears on Yong's chest. Her chest pounded, the warmth of the silver glove plus the green juice buff exploded, the vine meat regenerated and instantly healed all injuries, and the touch melted the frost like a mother's embrace. She whispered and kissed the salty sweat on Yong's neck. I love you, my family will last forever. Zekai's terminal panicked, Didi, and the brainwave potion counterinterferenced the broken network. His hands were trembling but firm. Brother, download the blueprint, and the purification path is open. The EMP core boomed violently, and the timer froze at 5 o'clock. The green and blue electric vines tightened and squeaked and exploded the core. Pop, sparks flew everywhere. The red light shattered into light spots and dissipated like blood mist evaporating. Tang Long howled miserably, his eyes collapsed in despair, the thorns in the vines parasitized and corroded his brainwaves. He twitched and fell to the ground and vomited black blood, and the conspiracy was wiped out. The yellow fog from the chemical plant has cleared, and the stars in the night sky are dazzling and cool. In the distance, the sea of vines on the green land of East City spread like a tidal wave. Passers-by and onlookers erupted in shocked cheers. King of the Green Revolution. The plant empire saves the city. EMP is resolved. It's amazing. The politician's headphones were all black, and he knelt down in worship to highlight Yong's charm. But there was a muffled boom at the bottom of the tower, and the EMP core actually popped out of the hidden cabin. The red light flashed wildly and the timer jumped to 10 o'clock. Zekai screamed, Brother, backup nuclear explosive device. There is a knife hidden in Tang Long's smile. The East City green space was completely destroyed. Yong and the three of them embraced each other, the arc of blood, sweat and green juice mixed with the sticky heat, and his chest was pounding and resonating. His inner ecstasy was as calm as a volcano and turned into a king's domineering one, full growth, the rise of a green empire. Cheng'en punched Yong's shoulder with a tingling sound and grinned fiercely, Brother, I owe you 2 lives. Xinyi's tearful eyes kissed Yong's soft, salty lips deeply. Hero, the new order is ours. Zekai pushed up his glasses and grinned, and the Greenland blueprint was projected on the terminal. Brother, East City is reborn, and the plant empire will last forever. The morning light pierces the fog, the golden light fills the green sea, and a new urban order is born. Bravely standing on the top of the tower, the vine vein empire pulses with heartbeat, overlooking the worship of millions, and the passion for revenge turns into an eternal legend.